guys, and welcome back to another travel sketchbook vlog. This is finally the last vlog in my travel sketchbook series. It has been a long road for me and for you guys too, probably if you've been following the whole thing. So this video is what I like to call a bonus video because this stop of our trip was not planned. Our flight was canceled, as I mentioned in the previous video, and so we ended up with an extra day in Paris. This video is that leg of our trip. Before we get started, if you could please hit that subscribe button because I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers this year. So if you could do me that favor and hit the subscribe button, I would appreciate it. I hope you enjoy it. I will come back at the very end and give you my final thoughts on Europe in general. Without further ado, let's go. Hi guys, welcome back to my travel sketchbook series. Last time we were left off in Venice, and I had revealed at the end of the video that our flight home was actually canceled. Our flight was canceled early, and we have a flight that was booked to leave from Orly back home. So this poses a big problem. It is not technically a connecting flight. They were booked separately. So all right. So that's where this picks up. So this was supposed to be our last day in Venice. We were supposed to leave the next day to head to Paris, and then when we got to Paris a couple hours later was going to be our flight home. But unfortunately, the flight to Paris was the one that was canceled. So we ended up having to rebook our flight from Paris back home. We were able to book a flight for free the next day through the same airline that had canceled our flight. We had to wait until the next day to be able to leave Venice. Unfortunately, our flight home was with a newer airline called French Bee, and they don't have flights from Paris to Los Angeles every single day. So us missing that flight caused us to have a 2-day delay because they didn't have a flight back to Los Angeles for 2 more days. We flew out from Venice to Paris the next day, and we actually had another full day in Paris. The airline that canceled our flight, they gave us a comp hotel room for the night, and it was in this rinky-dink little town just outside of Venice. I think it was technically in the greater Venice area, but it was not like Venice proper. So we were in this hotel. The hotel was okay. The food wasn't that great. There was just like really nothing to do in that town though. There was no activities. I think there were probably like 2 restaurants. So we went to this one place that I guess was like a Greek restaurant, and we got some like Euro fries, but they were terrible. I think the airline gets the majority of their business from like canceled flights and canceled, I don't know, connections and stuff like that, and probably cruise lines. It seems like they had a screen of all the departing flights in the lobby, and they also had like signs for, I think it was like Royal Caribbean or something, some sort of cruise line, I forget. So it seems like pretty much everybody there was there because their flight was canceled. So that'll tell you something. We basically did nothing the next day except for go get some lunch, and aside from that we just watched stuff on Netflix, and we were just so bored that we ended up deciding to go to the airport several hours early. And ironically, if you watch my previous videos, you'll know we've had difficulty getting into the airport lounges at all the previous airports. And funny enough, we go to the airport super early this time, and they have an airport lounge. We got all our stuff and we were able to get into the airport lounge, and I just thought it was funny because we weren't even supposed to be there.
We made it in, and we weren't supposed to.
We weren't supposed to be here. Hello. Okay, I'm back with the update. I don't think I really finished updating yesterday on the whole canceled flight situation. And because of this whole canceled flight situation, I'm looking a little bit rough. Please forgive me for my appearance. So yesterday we showed up to the airport and our flight to Paris was canceled. The earliest flight we could get back to Paris, because all the other ones were full, was like the next day, which is today, in the evening around like 9 o'clock. Because of that, we were going to miss our flight from Paris back home. The next available flight with that airline, because like we didn't want to have to cancel the tickets and then pay for a completely new flight from a different airline, because that would have cost a lot more, because we used our points to pay for that flight. So we decided to just use that same airline, but the next flight available wasn't going to be until Thursday. So we were planning to fly back Monday, and now the earliest we can fly back is Thursday. We decided to leave the hotel early because we were getting kind of bored. There wasn't anything for us to do. We were just kind of hanging out. We already watched 2 movies on Netflix. We were like, now what? So now we're enjoying the lounge. So we waited at the airport for several hours, just hanging out in the airport lounge. And then we finally got on our flight to Paris. This is the first for me. We just went through the gate, and now they're busing us to the plane.
Here we are.
And there it is.
What's our seat?
I don't know. We stayed in a, I forget what hotel chain it was. Like, think of it like a Best Western or something like that. It might have actually been a Best Western. But it was in one of the suburbs of Paris, like pretty far south of the main city. I think it took us like 30 minutes by train. So, sorry, I'm filming this super early in the morning, and I just realized I had my robe still on, and I felt like I should take it off for the video. So, please ignore that. Anyways, so yeah, we checked into this hotel like pretty late at night when we got there, and the guy who checked us in was super nice. Like, all the staff was super nice, but the cleanliness of this hotel, like, it was icky. It was icky. Yeah, I kind of wanted to check out, but we didn't really have any other options for a place to stay within our budget, because like we hadn't budgeted for being there still. The next day we decided to go back into town. When we were in Paris the first time, I had booked some tickets to go to the top of the Eiffel Tower on our last day, because our flight was pretty late in the day. Knowing what I know now, I can't believe I even attempted to do that, because going to the top of the Eiffel Tower took a whole half the day. So we got the train into the city, which was kind of an ordeal. We couldn't really figure out how to get a ticket, because we were just at one of the random bus stops, and we were like, how exactly do people get tickets? Like, of course, everything's in French. We have no idea what any of it says. So, update on our situation on getting back home. So we made it back to Paris last night. The flight was very anxiety-inducing for me, because we were right on like that exit seat. Engine sounded like it was having trouble, and then we hit turbulence, and like there were a couple of times where we hit the turbulence and then we like fell a couple feet, you know. It was a little scary. We made it into Paris last night, checked into a hotel. Oh, let me get my ticket, hold on. Yeah, anyways, so we got up this morning. The hotel was like pretty janky. Juan initially was gonna try to stay back at the hotel and do some work, but the hotel is like real janky, like, not gonna lie. At the very least, they had a good breakfast spread, so it had that going for it. So we decided we're gonna go back into Paris today. When we were here last, like a couple weeks ago, we didn't end up getting to go to the top of the Eiffel Tower, so we're gonna go to the top of the Eiffel Tower today, and I'm gonna get my crepe because I never got my crepe. So that's the mission for today, and then we're also gonna go to Monet's Gardens. Well, anyways, we were on the train. We decided to check what terminal we gotta be at for our flight tomorrow, and Juan goes into his emails to check on the flight information. Turns out our flight back to the US tomorrow was canceled. So now we gotta sort that out. Oh my goodness. We finally managed to get to another train station where we can buy a ticket. We get into the main city and then we walk over to the Eiffel Tower. It took, gosh, I don't know, like 30 minutes to stand in line just to get a ticket to go to the top of the Eiffel Tower. And it took like another couple hours of standing in line. Like, you know, you go up one elevator, you're on an observation deck, you stand in line for a while, you go up the next elevator. And I think that's the one that takes you to the top. It's like an observation deck. Oh yeah, I didn't know Paris had a Ferris wheel too.
Where is it?
Over there, I think by the Louvre. Hotel in Berlin. Straight down, close your eyes if you're afraid of heights. Here's a little picture of Juan at the top. There's like a little measuring thing, so you can stand up to see how high you measure up, and so that's Juan. Almost to 281 meters. He's a grown boy. So this was a picture that I took from the top of the cityscape below, and then I put on top of it another picture that we took afterwards. So we stayed up at the top for a while, and then afterwards we were hungry because it was basically noon, it was lunchtime, and so we went back down, went across the street. There's like a kiosk or whatever that sells hot dogs and crepes and stuff like that. So we should update the vlog on the flight situation.
That's your update. There you go.
Oh, you're welcome.
What?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to chill right now.
What kind of cameraman are you? Let's give a little update on the flight situation. So it turns out economy was fully booked. If we wanted to get back on that flight, we'd have to upgrade to business economy? Premium economy. Or just premium. Whatever, it doesn't matter. More expensive, basically. We didn't really have a choice. And then they called us back like an hour later. They're like, you're on the flight. Once like the time came for us to check in, we were able to check in. So we have our boarding passes. We should be good to go tomorrow. About the family behind us in line to get up the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
You know, you just get off the elevator and you're getting in line, and there's a bunch of people getting in line, so it's like a little overflow, right? And then the dad, like as like the line is actually forming, where there's like the lines that direct you where to go, like the dad just kind of cuts in front of us. And me and Juan look at each other like, wait, what? This guy just cut in front of us? And so he's like, excuse me.
And then
said it in
he's
Spanish.
Like, oh.
He's actually Italian.
He
whatever.
moved really fast.
Yeah, once we said something, he was like, dang, I didn't get away with it.
He knew.
He knew what he was doing. He knew.
He saw my beard too, so nah.
He was like, this guy's a man.
He means business.
Yeah.
With that beard.
So we're moving along in line, and this guy, he's like really trying to push the line along. He's like getting up there like, oh, let's go, you know, bumping into us and whatever. That once you get to the elevator to take you to the top, they scan your ticket again to make sure that like you have a ticket to get to the top. We're going through this tiny doorway. We're kind of zippering because there's two lines merging into one to get to the elevator.
Before we even got to the scanner, the worker came over and announced, he's like, please make sure you have tickets to get to the top.
Oh yeah, it has to say Summit
on your ticket, and if it doesn't say Summit, you
don't have a ticket.
So everyone's checking their tickets.
Yeah, and we had already been waiting like what 30 or 45 minutes by this point for that elevator to get to the top. So like the girl is like trying to get behind us to get her ticket scanned, and he like cuts in front of her. He's like, oh. I'm going first. The guy goes to scan it, and it's a second level ticket. It's not a ticket to the top. So like this guy, he's been like pushing, he's been trying to cut people, he's been like, you know, real aggressive in this line.
He's like right on our tail.
Yeah, you know, the whole time.
No space.
Yeah. And he doesn't even have a ticket to get to the top. We didn't have one. So we're like, I feel like this is karma. Serves you right. Anyways, that was it. And we got to the top. And we got our flight confirmed. And we got our French hot dog. This French hot dog apparently is a hot dog. It's an extra long one in a baguette
I said it earlier.
with cheese on top. As Juan refers to it as a cheesy wiener. Then after this, we're going to go to Montmartre. And probably call it a day after that, right?
I mean, I'm ready to call it a day.
You're always ready to call it a day. The first time I came to Paris, I wanted to get a crepe, but I missed my opportunity. I thought there would be more opportunities, but there wasn't. And so I got a crepe. So this was a picture that we took at the bottom of me holding my crepe in front of the Eiffel Tower. So that was just what I put on top. All of this was done with my Pentel Slicci 0.38 pen and then colored in with Prismacolor pencils. When I colored in the cityscape, I had lost some of the details, so I came back in with my Faber Castell Pitt artist pens to bring some detail back in so you could see some of the buildings. So yeah, that's how I did this whole spread. So we had hung out by the Eiffel Tower for a while. We hung out at the park for a little bit. We decided that we wanted to go visit Montmartre. Admittedly, this spread is not as punchy as the last spread as I had hoped. Maybe there's something I can do here to help it a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. So maybe there's some blending that I need to do. Anyways, so we hung out by the Eiffel Tower. We just laid on the grass behind the Eiffel Tower, and then we decided we wanted to go get some coffee, so we went to a cafe nearby across the street from the hotel that we had stayed at when we were there the first time. And so that's us hanging out at the cafe. It was the best shot that I could get of me in a cafe. I'm not going to get into that. Later was when we went to Montmartre, and this is a view of Sacré-Cœur in Montmartre, which is like a church. Basically, it's like a basilica. It's a really pretty building, so I thought it would be fun to draw. So I drew it. This is the restaurant that we had hung out at when we went to Montmartre. We didn't really know what to do when we got there. We just kind of like walked around. There were some artists that were painting in like the square, but to me it just felt very cheesy and touristy. They were there just to like get the tourists. So we were just walking around. I didn't really know what to do when we got there, so we just found a restaurant, which was this spot. It was right around the corner from Sacré-Cœur, and we had some beers, and Juan got a beer called Kilkenny at this restaurant, and he said it's one of the best beers that he ever had. It was super smooth and just very light and refreshing, and like foamy, and like, you know, it didn't go flat at all. So it was like a really, really nice smooth beer called Kilkenny at this restaurant. What even kind of beer is this? It's crazy. What do you think it is? It's very light.
It's Kilkenny.
It's an ale. Look at that. Just look at it go. Look at it go. We had stayed there for a while. Pretty much how we spent the rest of the day. After that, we slowly made our way back home. We kind of meandered through the street to find a train station. So we had to take some trains to get to the train station that would take us to the suburban area that we were at with the hotel. Juan, where are we at right now? Oh, Mickey D's. It is. I saw that they have, check it out, they have like a sweet burger. It's like a Nutella burger. So weird. Awesome. Oh, look at this. So, they got water by McDonald's.
Yeah, alright.
It's crazy.
What are you getting over here?
Don't sass me. Next morning, went to the airport. So what's going on here?
Motorcycle stuff.
So we just boarded the plane, and I thought it was funny that on the way out here, I told him I was like, someday we should fly in like business class, cause like that would be so cool. We'd be all fancy. And it's funny that later on this trip, by accident, we are now flying in business class, and it is fancy up here. Look at, there's a curtain. Comes with a pillow and a blanket. They included water. Get these little footrest things. There's the thing. Schmancy. Demonstrate one more time how far back the chair goes. Caught our flight. Apparently, when you're in business class, you can have as much food and drinks as you want for no extra charge. Of course, you're paying a lot of money anyways, so I guess it makes sense. But still, it's kind of nice to just be like, oh, can I have this? Can I have that? Can I have this? Can I have that? And you get like the fancy seats, and you get more leg room. I think they bring like hot towels around. You get all the stuff that normally you'd have to pay extra for when you're in coach, so that was pretty cool. That's us in our business class seats. Juan with his little eye mask on that was provided by the airline, and then that's me with my little glass of whiskey. We had finally made it home. And that's us greeting our baby girl for the first time since we got home. That was like the first time she saw us, and we just had like a little group hug moment.
Uh-oh. Yeah, baby, it's me. Hey, how are you? You see I got fuzzy. You see my face is all fuzzy.
Oh, look at that.
He looks like an Italian.
Oh my God. Oh. So that brings us to the conclusion of my entire Europe trip sketchbook series. If there's any artworks from my sketchbook series that you would like to see made into like a sticker or a print or something like that, let me know. I will do my best to make it happen. I hope you enjoyed this series. Bye. Welcome back to my face. I hope you enjoyed the video thus far. I will give you my final thoughts on Europe in general. I had originally filmed it at the end of the sketchbook tour, but then I thought it's super boring to just watch my hands gesture while you're looking at the same page in my sketchbook. So you might as well just look at my face while I say it. Overall, I liked Europe. I really liked the overall culture around food. Many of the European countries seem to really enjoy and take pride in their food and like to make good food. We had a lot of good food while we were on the trip. I like that as part of like the whole restaurant situation in Europe. I like the tipping culture out there, which there is none. I wish so badly that the US would get on that train and just pay servers good wages and not let people tip anymore. Instead, now we tip people for handing us a smoothie at a smoothie shop. So kind of gone backwards in that regard. I appreciated that. I liked, especially in France, how it was like the culture was like your meal is an event. The server doesn't come check on you. You have to request them, but it's like because they're trying not to rush you. They want you to enjoy your meal, which is really nice. I also enjoyed the whole public transit of at least the major cities that we had visited. It seems like most of Europe has a pretty good public transit system from what I can tell. It's very easy to access pretty much any city by train. And then when you're in the city, it seems like a lot of cities are set up with bicycle lanes. So they have like, you have the ability to bicycle everywhere. That infrastructure is kind of built in there in comparison to most of the US, where almost every city is very dependent on cars, and public transport in most cities makes it very difficult to get around to the places that you need to go. It's just not set up the same. So I really appreciated that about the places that we visited. Aside from that, the one thing that I didn't like was the smoking. I was very surprised. Like, I feel like the US, for the most part, I mean, it's kind of had a regression with vaping, but for the most part, smoking has significantly gone down. I feel like less and less people and kids in high school or whatever are like smoking in general, because especially like with the laws in most places, it makes it difficult to smoke anywhere. Whereas in Europe, you know, I would just be hanging out at the cafe and then the person next to me would light up a cigarette and then I'm like, and I would just be walking on the street and the person in front of me just lights up a cigarette and I'm just like walking behind them in their trail of smoke. So that I think was the most unpleasant part of all of it, in my opinion. So overall, of all the cities that we visited, personally, Paris was my favorite. For Juan, his was Edinburgh. I liked the cities that we visited in Italy, but like for me, it's like out of all the cities that we visited, which place would I be most likely to want to live for an extended period of time? And I think out of all those cities, it would probably be Paris from, you know, the experiences that I had there so far. So yeah, that's kind of my final thoughts on the whole trip. I hope you enjoyed this series. I enjoyed putting it together. I had a lot of fun making it. For me, it was a huge undertaking, but I think it was really good to kind of get me back in the groove of editing, because I was super rusty when I first started editing the first video. Like, I track all my editing time in an app, and when I look at the stats for how long each video has taken me, like it took me double the amount of time with the first video compared to this video. So I have improved significantly and have gotten a lot more efficient with video editing. So I am hopeful that I will be able to, with that, be able to release more videos on a more regular basis. I know I intended for this one to go out at the end of March. I'm a little bit late because of some life stuff, which I'll probably get into in a video in the near future, but it's nothing bad, just, you know, life happens. So once again, if you made it to this point and you haven't subscribed, like, I don't know what you're doing. Like, you're here. You've been here for almost 30 minutes probably at this point, so like, just hit the subscribe button, you know? Get me to 1K, all right, bud? Come on. With all of that, don't quit your daydream, and I will see you in the next one.